This is my reaction video to the Chiefs come from behind win over the Eagles in the Super Bowl 38-35. They did it in a non-traditional fashion or non-traditional fashion for the Chiefs under Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and since Eric Bieniemy's been there as the offensive coordinator. I'm going to talk about some first half observations that I made. I will show some statistics. I'll show offense, defense stats, talk about some of the plays and key moments. Look, I think that this game was won by, and this is going to be somewhat out of character. That's why I call it a plot twist. The Chiefs' physicality on offense in the second half, and even to a lesser extent, their first possession of the game, where they went down and scored. I thought they kind of showed their hand on that first possession a little bit in utilizing the run game. The run game established on the opening drive of the third quarter, however, I thought was even it was exponentially, more effective. It opened up the RPOs for later on. The Chiefs did a lot of things with the run game out of a particular formation or two or three formations, and then later on showed that same formation, the same look, but will run an RPO. So the linebackers were reacting to it, and the RPOs were there, or even just play action. A lot of different guys touched the football. This was not at least I don't think it was a Patrick Mahomes superhuman, super high efficient level quarterback play from the shotgun. I mean, you can even look at the stats: 21 of 27 for 182. He did have 3 touchdowns on 2 schemed up plays, and then Kelsey beating man early in the first half. I think for the first touchdown. The return motion that was utilized, I want to talk about that a little bit. Return motion, basically, the Chiefs understood that the Eagles were going to be in man in particular parts of the field. They didn't use it at midfield. They didn't use it on the 30. The Chiefs used it inside the 10. One of the things about Reid and Bieniemy, since they've been together, that's been unique, interesting, for me at least, is their inside the 10 play calls. You even saw it on the failed play call where the 5 offensive linemen lined up, and there was a 6 offensive linemen and 4 position players, and Mahomes in the huddle and did the little merry-go-round thing, the little spin thing, trying to hide who's eligible, and it turned out the right tackle, who was already lined up, ended up being eligible. Pretty unique stuff. They've oftentimes ran unique things, but I think they save it for particular parts of the field. I'm going to show the defense stats now. We'll kind of cycle through it, to be honest with you. You see a picture of Bolton there picking up the fumble in the second quarter. That return motion was key. They got 2 touchdowns out of it. The first was to Tony to make it 28-27, wide open. The Eagles' 2 DBs looked like one of them thought they were going to switch it, and the other one thought that he was going to run through, meaning run all the way across. So the communication there, they just weren't on the same page. Then there's a stop by the Chiefs defense, who didn't play well in the first half, but they improved dramatically in the second half, I thought, even though they still gave up 10 points. Chiefs get the ball back. Sky Moore's touchdown makes it 35-27 on the same return motion. Very similar. Wide open. And then look at the hold on Bradbury, James Bradbury, for the Eagles that everyone's talking about. It was return motion by Juju. The Chiefs kind of, I would say, utilized 3 or 4 main concepts in key moments down inside the 10 that the Eagles really had no answer for. I think it's because they knew the coverage the Eagles were going to play. And in some cases, maybe they had 2 play calls in the huddle. But I didn't see evidence on those return motion calls of Mahomes making a particular signal out to those guys, even though, we know that plenty of times he certainly does that. I'll let the team stats show for a second. I thought Reid and Bieniemy really outcoached the Eagles in the second half. Even Spagnuolo, to a lesser extent. You got to give his defense credit. They played with a different level. I know they gave up there it is right there, 417 yards on the left-hand side, 25 first downs, but they only gave up 8 first downs in the second half. I think the Eagles had 17 first downs in the second half, and the Chiefs only had 7. I do want to talk about the first and second half play calls by the Chiefs. This is my charting, and I may be off here by 1 or 2, but I'm not off by 3. First half, I got the Chiefs with 7 run plays and 13 pass plays, so 20 overall plays. 7 run, 13 pass, so almost 2/3 or 66% pass plays. I got them for 128 yards, about 6.4 per play, I think, in the first half. Second half, a clear switch. Now, maybe it's because they figured out the run game was working, but it's not like the Chiefs got a ton of points in the first half offensively. They scored 1 offensive touchdown in 4 possessions, and then the fumble recovery for a touchdown by Bolton obviously, had them at 14 points at halftime. Meanwhile, the Eagles were at 24 and just dominating. Second half play calls for the Chiefs. Keep in mind, after a first half where they were 7 run and 13 pass, and are down 24-14, they get the ball first in the third quarter. It was a beautiful drive. I thought that was one of the best drives, best coordinated drives that I've ever seen since I've been trying to cover games on on YouTube and do reaction videos or even try to do film study videos. I thought it was one of the best drives, the most balanced drives, coordinated things that I had seen. And I'm not a Chiefs fan, I'm a Ravens fan, but I got to give them credit. I mean, just 10 plays, 75 yards, used the run expertly. Pacheco ran the ball well. The 3rd and 1 call there, where they put McKinnon in the backfield. So he was the only tailback or running back on the field. But they lined up Sky Moore at tailback, and McKinnon was like an offset fullback. Then he ran like a zone back to the other side on a reverse pivot by Mahomes. At right around that point, I started to think, wow, this is a real plot twist. This is a real diversion from the way the Chiefs would normally attack with Mahomes. I think you got to give Bieniemy and Reed credit. Mahomes obviously as well. But I think they recognized that Mahomes and their offense was different. I'm going to make a comparison, and some people aren't going to like it, and that's fine. This game reminded me, talking about the offense of the Chiefs, of the Patriots' win over the Rams in the Super Bowl. I'm talking about the McVay Rams, not the Kurt Warner Rams, okay? I'm talking about the play style that the Patriots had. Of course, we know this is years after the 2007 Patriots with Randy Moss. And the year before, when I think they won the Super Bowl, or 2 years before when they won the Super Bowl, they won their 3rd. We know that Brady and the Patriots, they were in the spread often, just like a lot of teams in the NFL have been in the last 15, 18 years. This was a movement away from that in the second half. 17 runs, 15 passes, 4 possessions, and here they are. Touchdown, 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 field goal, game-winning field goal to win 38-35. I'm going to recap it again. First half, 7 runs, 13 passes, 128 yards. Second half, 17 runs, 15 passes, 221 yards on 34 plays. They possessed the ball. They did what you heard Greg Olson talk about teams normally try to do to Mahomes and Reed. They kept the football away from the Eagles' offense. They kind of flipped the script from what we saw in the first half. If you ask me, another element to it that I think Mahomes deserves credit, Reed, Bieniemy, and all of the offensive line, they played great, is they spread the football around. In the second half, I have 9 different players touching the football on run or pass concepts for the Chiefs. I feel like that's significant. You'll see the offensive stats here in a moment, and you can kind of confirm it for yourself. I'm not including Mahomes in that. I mean, Mahomes had a big 26-yard scramble that was amazing. I know he's MVP, threw 3 touchdowns. That 26-yard scramble, I think, we've seen his arm talent. We've seen his playmaking ability and all of those things over the course of his short career. But that 26-yard scramble just confirmed the guts, the heart, the desire, and the leadership. I mean, it was an amazing play. It really won the game, I think, in a lot of ways. I understand that the hold on Bradbury, were it not called, the Chiefs would have had to attempt a field goal and then would provide the Eagles with a chance to get on a score. I think they would have had one timeout left in like a minute 40. I could be wrong, somewhere around there. So I understand that that was the play that won the game officially in terms of the Chiefs having 99% win probability at that point. But I thought that 26-yard scramble set the stage for that. It really pushed the ball further downfield. And even as a Ravens fan, I just got to give credit to Mahomes for doing that. I don't think he played his best game. I don't think the offensive staff for the Chiefs needed him to. I think they wanted to win the game in this non-traditional manner. I think that was the game plan. 9 different guys touched the football in the second half. Pacheco, Moore, Tony, Kelsey, McKinnon, Justin Watson, I think it was. Well, Kelsey and Juju played well. 6 catches for 81 yards for Kelsey on 9 targets. Juju 7 catches for 53 yards on, I think, 8 targets. So those guys had, I think, 13 catches on 16 or 17 targets, somewhere around there. I thought they played pretty well. I thought that, look, I think Patrick Mahomes did what they asked him to do. I think he did what his team needed him to do. I think Jalen Hurts played amazing. I mean, yes, he had the fumble that Nick Bolton, took to the house. So I understand that was a huge mistake because it really, if that doesn't happen, let's just say the Eagles don't score on that possession, which it looked like they were going. They were pretty much unstoppable in the first half. But they possessed the ball for 22 minutes in the first half, had 17 first downs compared to 7 for the Chiefs, and I think 3 of those for the Chiefs was on their first drive. I could be wrong there. But let's say that fumble doesn't happen, and the Eagles don't even score there. At minimum, it's 24-7 at the half. Could be worse. They could have gone down and got a field goal, or maybe even another touchdown. You're talking about maybe it could have been 27-7, or maybe even 28-7. Crazy as that sounds. Look, I think that the Eagles blew a huge opportunity, and one of the reasons for real, Jalen Hurts played amazing. 305, 304 yards passing, 70 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. I thought he had 4 or 5 great throws, not good throws. I mean great throws to receivers. Even one that A.J. Brown caught out of bounds down the left sideline. Of course, it was thrown a little wide, but it's thrown in a place where only A.J. Brown could catch it. The throw to Devonta Smith that was ruled incomplete, that was an amazing throw. Throw to Goddard on 3rd and 14 in the fourth quarter, that was a shockingly great throw. The missed opportunity here that I think is going to haunt them is not getting the ball to A.J. Brown. It looked like to me A.J. Brown had a physical and athletic mismatch against the outside corners for the Chiefs. When they moved him into the slot, it didn't appear to me like A.J. Brown was available that often. I'm not saying, oh, he's getting blanketed or shut down. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that whatever coverages the Chiefs were playing, A.J. Brown seemed to me to be more dangerous lined up on the outside, whether it was to the left or to the right side. And I think the Eagles should have got him the football more. To my knowledge, he didn't have enough targets. I think he had 8. It looks like 8 targets, 6 catches, 96 yards. I don't feel like that's enough for how effective he was. Eagles offense, you have to criticize them. I know that they did score 10 points in the second half. I know that they did, get the touchdown to tie it 35-35, and then the 2-point conversion run by Hurts was amazing. But in my opinion, they got outplayed. Look, okay, so they get a field goal to go up 27-21, right, in the third quarter. It's a 17-play drive for 60 yards. Everything was more difficult in the second half. You have to give credit to the Chiefs' defense. I thought they came out and they were more physical in the second half on both sides, and including special teams. Look at the punt return by Toney. It's a wall punt return. It's a delayed intentional wall, meaning Toney is supposed to hesitate on the left side of the field a little bit, and then they run the wall on the wide side. Perfectly executed. I think the Chiefs deserve credit for being a more physical team in the second half. Back to that field goal drive for the Eagles that puts them up 27-21. They converted 3 third downs and 1 fourth down on that drive, including the 3rd and 14 to Goddard. That to me looked like a smash concept thrown over the corner, but the corner was still there to challenge. Chiefs made it difficult in the second half. They did. After the field goal, make it 27-21, Chiefs go down and score, utilizing the run game to make it 28-27 Chiefs. Eagles then punt. 3 plays, punt. Chiefs take a 35-27 lead in the fourth quarter. Both of those, like I said, was on, I think, the return motion by Toney. So a little short motion from the outside. And then as the ball snap back to the outside towards the near pylon. Puts them up 35-27. Look, Hurts and the Eagles, great answer to tie it at 35. I did not think the Eagles identified the real mismatch that they had. Jalen Hurts played fantastic. I think he played at an MVP level. You may disagree. You may just say he played well, but he didn't play. I think he played at an MVP level. I think he played that great. 374 yards total, and being the leading rusher for his team. Have to give him credit, but I think that they didn't identify that A.J. Brown was a real mismatch, and they should have been looking for more opportunities to get him the football or line him up. If the Chiefs were taking him away, let's say they were taking him away by doubling him or putting him a safety over the top, which is never that simple. Those two explanations, that's too simplistic. But let's just use that to move on to my point. Let's say put him backside if the Chiefs are going to dedicate 2 guys to him, and then let's run the ball over to the trip side. Let's take advantage of the numbers over there. Even that's a little simplistic for me, but my point is I think there was more opportunities for A.J. Brown, and I don't think the Eagles coaching staff recognized it. That's just my opinion. All right, I have to give credit to the Chiefs defense. Look at what they did to the Eagles run game. You can see the stats up there in the Philadelphia rushing stats on the right-hand side. The running backs, Gainwell, Sanders, and Scott. Here's what they combined for: 17 carries for 45 yards. If I did my math right, that's less than 3 yards per carry. I think it's like 2.7, 2.6, somewhere around there. I didn't punch it into a calculator to look. Hurts's stats pushed the team rushing up to 3.6, 15 for 70, and 3 rushing touchdowns. The Chiefs defense did what they needed to do. They did. They held the run game down. 32 for 115. I mean, numbers speak for itself. Devonta Smith, 7 for 100. A.J. Brown, 6 for 96. Dallas Goedert was effective. Don't get me wrong. I would have liked to have seen the Eagles look to get the ball to A.J. Brown more. They had him on the slants. They hit him on the one deep touchdown where he made a great play on the ball. The other time they tried to go downfield to him on that deeper post over climb, whatever concept, I thought that was a poor decision to throw the ball with the safety there. But I understand Hurts trusts him, and A.J. Brown makes plays. Conversely, going back to my comparison, and I know that there's some people who won't like it because when the Patriots beat the Rams, the McVay Rams, it was 13-3 was the final, I think. So I get it. They played fantastic defense all game long, and certainly the Chiefs did not do that. But holding the running game down with that offensive line, I thought was pretty fantastic. They only had 2 QB hits, but they did get 2 sacks, they being the Chiefs. I thought their linebacker, Nick Bolton, played fantastic. I thought Willie Gay played well. You can see he had 8 tackles. Thought Bolton, Chenal, or however you say his name, Leo Chenal, the rookie from Wisconsin, I thought those guys played well at inside linebacker. I really did. I didn't think that McDuffie and some of their outside corners played nearly as well, and I certainly didn't think their pass rush played well, to be honest with you. But overall, their defense, I think, did what they needed to do, which was control or limit the run game of the Eagles. And then conversely, the second part of that game plan I'm talking about, being similar to the Patriots-Rams game plan, is the Chiefs ran the football. The Chiefs ran the football. You can see there, they only had 7 rushing first downs, but they were running the ball a lot on first down. And Isaiah Pacheco was 15 for 76 rushing. Jerick McKinnon was 4 for 34, including that big first down conversion on the opening drive coming out of the third quarter on the 3rd and 1. Beautiful play concept. I can't wait to look at some of the film and just show you guys what some of the plays that I think are interesting and the ways the Chiefs really manipulated the Eagles defense. Mahomes was 6 for 44. I think he had 3 good scrambles, particularly the 26-yard scramble that I already talked about. I know that this was a shootout on the scoreboard, 38-35, but the second half, to me, I think was a commitment by the Chiefs, a recognition by the Chiefs that they couldn't come out and throw the ball 40, 45 times and let the Eagles pass rush get upfield. They had to stretch them horizontally some, which they did with motion. And then what I love they did multiple times was motion sky more from one side to the other in fast motion or jet motion. Make it look like maybe they're going to hand it off to him and then run back the other way. So they were forcing the Eagles defensive players at the second level, nickel defenders, inside linebackers, they were forcing them to move one way and then quickly have to shift back the other. On the run concept, simultaneously you're forcing D linemen to move horizontally, move laterally, and not just attack upfield. At halftime, I mean, man, this looked like a blowout. At halftime, you had 22-8 time of possession for the Eagles. Chiefs had 7 first downs and had only completed 2 balls to wide receivers for 12 yards. I think Mahomes had 2 completions to running backs and 3 completions to tight ends, maybe 4. If it weren't for that fumble recovery by Bolton that was taken to the house, or the fumble by Hurts first, I mean, like I said, it could have been 27-7, 28-7, something like that. Eagles O-line doing a great job. I love that trap play, QB trap play they were doing out of empty. I thought they ran that 3 or 4 times. It's a unique play. Hurts is willing to do it. At that point, at halftime, it was like the Chiefs need an answer. And again, that drive in the third quarter, I thought was one of the best drives that I've ever seen. It really showed that they were able to run the ball and execute multiple concepts against the Eagles defense, and that they weren't going to just offer. They were going to line up in 11 personnel in the shotgun, and we're going to throw the ball 65, 70% of the time. The Chiefs did not do that. That's why I'm hearkening back to that Patriots-Rams Super Bowl. Even though the score was different, it was a much lower scoring game, and the quality of defense overall was better, probably on both sides. But I recognize that the Chiefs, they went under center more. They lined up at one point. They lined up as split backs and ran sweep crack. That's a play. That's a play from like the 1970s. I mean, it's a unique play. The stuff they did inside the 10-yard line, the return motion, uh, protecting Mahomes, in my opinion. When I say protect, I mean recognizing this was not a game to drop him back 40, 45 times against that Eagles pass rush. I think that the Chiefs did a great job of not bashing their head up against the wall and saying, "Oh, okay, we're gonna go ahead and throw the ball to our receivers who are not super talented compared to the guys they're going up against." In terms of the Eagles' entire defense, I certainly like MVS and Juju, and Kadarius Toney. I mean, what's not to like about how talented he is? Travis Kelsey's a Hall of Fame player. In my opinion, this was a great strategy, and this was the strategy that the Chiefs needed to use to win. Even after that, the Eagles took that 27-21 lead. I tweeted out like 9:20 Eastern time, something like that. The gameplay, the physicality, the blocking seems different. Everything's tougher for the Eagles offense, and Kansas City gets a chance to take a lead, and they just blew past them. They just blew past them. The Eagles, when going from Eagles 27-21 to Chiefs 35-27 lead, the Eagles front six, front seven got blown off the ball. I mean, the blocking. And I thought that was pretty amazing. You still had a differential for time of possession, for the whole game of -11. But in the first half, it was -14. So to me, if I did my math right, then I think that means that the Chiefs were +3 in the second half, time of possession. They really possessed the ball. I thought 35-27, the game might be over. Credit to the Eagles. Credit to the Eagles. They were able to come back and tie it, but I thought their defense looked tired. There was two plays on the drive to go up 35-27. One of them was a run play for Pacheco, and the next one was a run play for McKinnon. I mean, the first one was like a 6-foot running lane, 6 foot wide. I mean, I think it was a 9-yard gain, and the next one looked like a 4 or 5. It was a huge running lane. The Eagles' defense got worn down, in my opinion. I think they got worn down not from Mahomes scrambling around, not from Mahomes completing 35, 38 passes, but from the run game and the constant use of motion. And yeah, they had some big hits. The Eagles, played hard. I think the Eagles are a Super Bowl champion quality team. The credit tonight, in my opinion, goes to Chiefs players for executing a game plan that was non-traditional for them. More of a traditional offense. If you look at total stats for them, I think Mahomes had 27 or 28 passes attempted. I think they had 32 rush attempts, but if I recall, there it is right there. 26 rush attempts, my apologies. So they didn't run anywhere near the amount of plays the Eagles ran. I think the Eagles ran 74 plays, 72. 10 total drives for the Eagles because the fumble that gets taken back to the house. The Chiefs didn't need to possess the ball to score there. They scored and then kicked off. So Eagles got 2 possessions in a row. Still averaged 5.8 yards per play, but at the half, that number was way higher. I think this is a game that the Eagles staff will look back at and say, we got outcoached on 2 levels, if they're willing to be honest with themselves. On one level, I don't think they got the ball to their best player, their most explosive player, enough. And that's A.J. Brown. And Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown are their best players together, combined, 1A and 1B, or 1A1 and 1A2, something like that. They're both great. But I don't think they got the ball to A.J. Brown enough, number one. And number two, I don't think they did a great job of defending the run against a Chiefs team that had not been able to run the ball at all against the Bengals. If you look back at the AFC title game, I don't think they ran the ball effectively at all against the Bengals, and they were able to fight that one out and squeak that one out. So credit Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, Steve Spagnuolo. Even though they did give up 417 yards, certainly played better defense in the second half. Even that drive where the Eagles go down and tie it, I think they had to convert. 2 third downs, maybe 3, including one that was a 3rd and long. Chiefs deserve all the credit. As a Ravens fan, I didn't know who to root for. I was really rooting for the Eagles because I've always liked Jalen Hurts, seeing the way he handled things at Alabama, how he was able to respond and then help them get to a national title game, even when he had lost his starting quarterback job to Tua as, I think, a junior, transferring to Oklahoma, playing great, coming into the NFL. Oh, you're a bridge quarterback. Oh, he's a guy who, he's a cheap contract. They're going to keep him around. And then draft someone else. Nah, that's not what it looks like. It looks like Jalen Hurts is going to get paid and is going to stay in Philadelphia for his whole career and win a lot of football games. And I think he's going to win a Super Bowl. I like him. I believe in him and how he does things from an execution standpoint, also from a character standpoint. I loved his reaction to the fumble return for a touchdown by Bolton. Hurts went right back out there and got a score on the next possession. I think the Eagles very easily could have won this football game. I picked them, prior to the game. I said I thought that they could win this game by 7 to 10 points. And I think the gameplay in the first half reflected that. The Chiefs totally changed the dynamic and proved so many of us wrong with their physical play in the third quarter. I thought by early third quarter they had imposed their will on the Eagles, and I did not see that happening. That goes against Andy Reid's historical finishes to seasons. I mean, for real, even when he was going back and coaching with the Eagles, his teams were soft in a lot of situations. That they were softer than the other teams who beat them in NFC championship games, in Super Bowls. The Chiefs won this game because of toughness, coaching, guts and heart by Patrick Mahomes, playmaking, by their running backs, and great blocking by their offensive line and guys blocking downfield. I have to give credit to them. From that standpoint, they deserved it. And it was a fun game to watch for me because I didn't sit and chart every play. You can probably tell, by the type of reaction video. I thought that this was a situation where the Eagles, kind of let one slip, and that's difficult for Eagles fans and difficult for their staff and their players. If you guys have any elements you think I missed, feel free to let me know in the comments section. Fun game to watch. It's crazy that the NFL season ends so quickly. 17 regular season games, 4 weeks of the playoffs, 5 weeks, with the bye week thrown in there between the championship games and the Super Bowl. We got a good one. We got a great one. I don't know about you, but I'm going to try to rewatch it some this week, watch some of the film once it comes out. Do some film study on Jalen Hurts, on the run game that the Chiefs used, some of the unique plays, the return motion plays that were used down inside the red zone, and some of the missed opportunities for the Eagles to get the ball to A.J. Brown, where I think they really could have changed the dynamic of this game, opened up their run game some more by attacking downfield. Appreciate you guys' time. If you enjoyed the video, please let me know in the comment section. And also, please consider maybe sharing a link to this video out on social media to help the video get more reach.